I find it fascinating that we are upending society for less than 0.5% of society. We can no longer say mother or pregnant woman. We must say birthing person, because the left wants us to believe that men can get pregnant too, when really they can't. And yet somehow the people who are for the status quo are the culture warriors. And it's the people who want to advance. And again, this is all changing the language. Somehow you're a culture warrior if you're for the status quo, and you're for the status quo if you want to change it. This is all critical theory, changing the language. But there's something else that is amazing to me. There are a vast array of people on the left who say that those who support Donald Trump are somehow unthinking automatons. That if you're a Christian, you want some powerful white dude in a pulpit to tell you what to think, and you can't think for yourself. And the whole idea is this open-mindedness that you're so close-minded. And what we're seeing today in society are a bunch of people whose brains are so open, their brains have literally fallen out. Their heads are so open, their brains have fallen out. You can be so open-minded that you no longer have a brain. How easy it is to get the brainless herd of wokes to go along with something. Everyone's like, oh, well, of course, men have always been able to give birth. I guess we can't say woman anymore. I guess we can't say pregnant mom anymore. It's got to be birthing person. The ability for these people to intellectually turn on a dime with the latest trend. I mean, it's like watching the fashionistas come out with some terrible trend. Remember the unisex men underwear stuff that was a couple of weeks ago, or men wearing essentially bikinis or whatnot to the beach, and they try all these trends. Or look at them now. In the last week, Newsweek, Time Magazine, The Washington Post, and I believe The Guardian have all done stories on we should all be eating insects. Now, you know damn well not a single person who wrote those pieces are out there regularly eating insects, but somehow they want you and me to think it's socially acceptable. It's the pushing at the margins of society, all of these bat poop crazy ideas, and it's the people on the left who, well, I guess I'm going to have a cockroach for lunch today. That'll be healthy protein. Yesterday they wake up and they talk about pregnant mother, and today they wake up, it's a birthing person. These people on the left are your mind-numbed automatons. These are the people easily controlled and manipulated. I mean, do you hear them how easily they go with groupthink? They condemn you for wanting to go with your candidate of choice. They condemn you for being thoughtless. They condemn you for not being open-minded, and yet their minds are so open, their brain fell out, and any idea from the left that is absurd, counterintuitive, and anti-science can be thrown at them and say, oh, yes, it's birthing people now. We don't want to defund the police. We just want to take their budget and give it to other people, but that's not defunding the police. Why, yes, men can have children. Why, yes, men can give birth. Men can lactate naturally. None of it makes sense. But what we're finding now is that the dumbest, most shallow people tend to be the cultural elite these days, who believe the craziest things. You know, G.K. Chesterton, the philosopher, I've mentioned this before, had a great saying that the danger of not believing in God is not that you'll believe in nothing, but that you'll believe in everything. What we are seeing are the secular elite in this country will believe everything other than reality. And their goal is to change reality by changing the language. Words that were acceptable just a week ago are no longer acceptable. Words that weren't acceptable now are. The definitions of words have to be changed. This is all part of this progressive effort to change society. And what we see is on television, it's part of what they're doing. You've got MSNBC anchors out today saying that if businesses can't attract people from the unemployment line, maybe they need to pay them more. Why should the government be able to shape private sector policy through backdoor policies, driving up their costs? It's angering to me. It frustrates me to see people so willfully ready to change thousands of years of science, settled science, vocabulary, biology is part of science, and then suddenly say, well, I mean, you're the bigot for not being open-minded. You're the hick in the room for not changing your mind. No, you people are idiots. You people have completely convoluted language to avoid offense of maybe 0.5% of the country, and then you tell me, well, it's not affecting you. Why are you so upset by it? Because I'll lose my job if I say it. In some settings, I can't go on Twitter and call Caitlyn Jenner Bruce without him turning off my account. And if you call him a him, God help you. Well, it's not affecting you. Yeah, baloney. They told us gay marriage, if it was legalized, would not affect anyone in society that did not want a gay marriage. You heard the line, if you don't want a gay marriage, don't have one. And now they're shutting down people's businesses who don't want to bake a cake because of their well-settled, sincerely held religious beliefs. I don't know why you're upset about people calling Bruce Jenner Caitlyn Jenner and demanding you say he's a she. I mean, you don't have to do it. It's not offending you, except they'll turn me off. They'll censor me if I don't. And you too. You'll get driven out of your job. You're forced to go to diversity and equity training where they tell you this bat poop crazy stuff is normal and that you're the crazy person for being normal. You got to continue to stand up to it. You got to continue to stand up to it. It is a phenomenon of white people who need Jesus and their lapdogs in the press and elsewhere. That's what this is. It is secular white people. They don't believe in God, so they'll believe anything. And they're trying to impose their insanity on the rest of us. They've got the Biden administration fully on board and embracing their sanity. Insanity. You just have to make your way through life and not lose your sanity to the mob. It is striking to me how many smart people out there will do this. My wife and I were talking the other day. We follow someone on social media who is struggling with the birthing person language or finding language to try to get around the fact that only women can have babies, because now you've got women who identify as men who still want to get pregnant. And so how do you do this? Well, you do this by embracing the fact that only women can get pregnant. But if you do that, you expose that transgenderism is a mental health issue. And you're not allowed to. We're supposed to treat it as normal. You get in trouble even on radio these days for pointing out as a mental health issue. What's a mental health issue is the willingness of people to so want to not offend crazy that they change thousands of years of settled language just to avoid offending a group of people who are angry and have some mental issues. And you've got social media giants who will censor you. They will punish you for daring to point it out. This is all emperor has no clothes territory that we're in this country. And remember, the hero of the story is the kid who said the emperor had no clothes. It's worth pointing out to these people that women are the only ones who can get pregnant. There's no reason to say birthing person because only women can get pregnant. There's no reason to embrace the agenda of the bat poop crazy wokes out there, because eventually it will burn itself out of society. And it is so uniquely a phenomenon of secularized Western society. This is not something going on anywhere in the world except in the largely English-speaking Western white world where God has faded and secularism is on the rise. And that should tell you everything you need to know about it being a poison for people's brains.